And good morning. We're here now at Camp Aginaldo for the second National Simultaneous Earthquake Drill and Metro Manila Shake Drill. Join me, I'm Zach Yuson, as we cover today's live events, which will begin at in about 4 minutes at 9 a.m. when everyone will simultaneously do the drop, cover, and hold, and then proceed to their respective earthquake drills. I'm here now at the Joint Task Force NCR within Camp Aginaldo. Just a few meters away from me is the Aginaldo Grandstand, where the National Simultaneous Earthquake Drill will take place. We are in the headquarters of the Joint Task Force NCR, where the MMDA, the Metro Manila Development Authority, is conducting its own Metro Manila-wide shake drill. And as you can see around me, there are people ready on standby. We're just getting ready to begin the earthquake drill, which will happen in about 3 minutes. So stay with us as we cover this drill live on Rappler.com. Please share the live stream on your social media feeds. Use the hashtag MMShakeDrill and hashtag Pagyanig. These are the two hashtags that will be used by the national government and by Metro Manila agencies for this earthquake drill. So today, what do you expect to see? Well, at 9 a.m., of course, whether you are in your office, you're in your school, you're at home, we encourage you to drop, cover, and hold, meaning protect your head, make sure it doesn't, there are no debris that fall on you, and then stay there for 1 minute. The sirens will go on for 1 minute. In EDSA and other major thoroughfares, the MMDA will stop traffic, or wherever you are in your respective provinces. So please, if you are in a car at 9 a.m. sharp, please stop on the side of the road for 1 minute. Do not proceed, just so that everyone acknowledges that there is an earthquake drill going on. After 1 minute, then you can proceed. If you are not in your car, if you're in your building, after 1 minute, please proceed to an evacuation area designated by your respective building authorities or your school or wherever you are. If you are at your home, just move outside to a safe area where there's no danger of falling trees or falling buildings. Stay there until you get the all clear signal from your barangay captain, from your school head, or from your office building administrator. It's important that we practice these steps to ensure that when the real earthquake happens, then we are all prepared and we are especially safe. But that's only the beginning, because after the earthquake happens in a real situation, there is the recovery and rescue operation. And what we're going to see today at around 9:10, 9:50 is this precise operation that will take place in different areas of Metro Manila. Yes, we've just heard that 1 more minute mark. So that's in less than 60 seconds. We're going to have the actual nationwide simultaneous earthquake drill and Metro Manila shake drill. So just to continue what I've been saying, for the next few minutes or hour, we'll see various scenarios of rescue and recovery conducted by the MMDA, by the Office of Civil Defense, by different regional civil defense offices, and by the private sector, the schools who are out there who are going to practice this drill on their own. And it'll be interesting to see how different organizations and different agencies respond to the drill, but more importantly, how they coordinate and communicate with each other. We encourage you, our viewers and people on social media, to please take pictures and post it on your Twitter feed using the hashtag MMShakeDrill and hashtag Pagyanig. Please make sure your precise location is on so that we can capture this on the Agos map. That's agos.rappler.com, or for those of you who can't remember that, that's rappler.com/Pagyanig. I'll be with you for the next hour to guide you on this earthquake drill, and we will be showing you video from different CCTVs from the MMDA and from even from aerial feeds. What's going to happen around the city. So please join us. It's just about to start. We're almost there. Please be ready. If you are at home, please tell your family, please tell your friends to be ready for the nationwide simultaneous earthquake drill.
Duck cover and hold position, everybody.
Okay, we're going to do the duck cover and hold position. So we're going to show you around here. Everyone's going to do the duck cover and hold right now as the earthquake drill officially begins. So let's pan around and show everyone doing duck cover and hold. Yes.
Ang inyong pong marinig ay budya ng pagsisimula ng second Metro Manila Shake Drill. Isang ehersisyo na maghahanda sa ating lahat laban sa banta ng isang 7.2 magnitude earthquake. Hinihikayat po namin ang inyong paghahanda at partisipasyon sa ating earthquake drill sa pamamagitan ng duck, cover, and hold.
Ito po si FIVOX Director Renato Solidum. Sa senaryo pong ito, gumalaw na po ang West Valley Fault. Ito po ay isang drill lamang.
Okay, so we just heard we're still hearing the drill. It's still ongoing as of the moment. Everyone here in JTF NCR is doing the duck cover and hold. And in a few more seconds, we're going to proceed to the live earthquake simulation drill post-earthquake, which is when everyone will now mobilize. The scenario here is that Chairman Emerson Carlos of the MMDA is in the Guadalupe headquarters of MMDA in Makati, which will be simulated to be on fire, and so Emerson Carlos will be evacuated. According to the plan, he has to proceed. So I'm going to stand up now just so that I can be seen. He has to proceed to the Camp Aginaldo headquarters to convene the Metro Manila Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, and also to elevate, assuming this was a major earthquake, to elevate this
So
to the
after the
national
ground
level.
shaking stops,
And, yes, let's listen
everybody in
first.
the grandstand will have to move towards the open space.
Okay, so now they're evacuating us, but we will stay here because we need to annotate and we need to maintain the live stream. So the Rappler team has been given the authorization to stay here, but everyone else in the grandstand will be evacuating. As I said earlier, Emerson Carlos is in Guadalupe, in Makati. And let's try to pull up a feed from Guadalupe from the... wala pa. Okay. Yeah, what I can see on our screens here, we have the different feeds from MMDA, and Emerson Carlos, who just started the drill in Guadalupe, Chairman Emerson Carlos, will now have to proceed to Camp Aginaldo here in EDSA. It's about maybe about 9 kilometers away from Guadalupe, but he'll have to encounter several obstacles along the way. One of them would be the simulated collapse of the Guadalupe Bridge, and so he'll have to cross the Pasig River, I understand, by boat, and then take a motorcycle to Camp Aginaldo. As I speak, in Camp Aginaldo, they are preparing and mobilizing the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. Previous to today, they were setting up, gumagawa pa sila ng mga paghahanda, and now they're mobilizing their response units. All around me, I can hear sirens. I can see on different screens in front of me, cars mobilizing, trucks mobilizing, and people assembling at the Camp Aginaldo grandstand. Now,
Hello.
as you can see behind me over here, people have evacuated to the open area in front of the Joint Task Force quadrangle. And let's listen in first.
After the earthquake had stopped, then we execute evacuation plan, and we all proceed, or people inside buildings will have to proceed at the planned evacuation or assembly area. Okay. So right now we're using this open field
So that's Mon Santiago of MMDA speaking.
as our assembly area. Okay. We expect that all over the place where the earthquake was felt, they're also executing the evacuation or the respective evacuation plan. For the emergency response organization, we also anticipate or we expect that right now there are lots of movements all over Metro Manila wherein they are executing their respective tasks, especially in terms of assessing the damage that was caused by the ground shaking. Okay. We expect that in a few while, there will be lots of movement, especially by those involved with establishing the respective emergency operation center. Local government units, national government agencies, MMDRRMC members, MMDA, national government agencies, NDRRMC. So all emergency plans or contingency plans related to coping with the earthquake, strong earthquake, is being executed right now.
So that was Mon Santiago
So-
speaking. Okay, let's listen in again.
As a matter of automated response, okay, MMDRRMC members, agencies, in this particular exercise, we will establish the emergency operations. We received report that MMDA building suffered major damage, and therefore the EOC has been rendered inoperable, and we have to transfer the Emergency Operations Center here at Camp Aginaldo, the AFP Joint Task Force NCR Command, here in Camp Aginaldo. Under the plan, Metro Yacal, this is JTF is the alternate emergency operations center for MMDRRMC. And therefore, at this junction, we will execute our respective tasks insofar as establishing the facilities, establishing communication, and the emergency operations center. Okay, so we can proceed with our respective tasks. We'll just await for the other principals to come in and undertake the respective tasks in accordance with the plan.
That was Mon Santiago of MMDA. He just said that the Metro Manila Disaster Reduction Management Council is activated, and this is the alternative meeting place or meeting point for the council, and that means different agencies and stakeholders. Now, we'd like to, while they're preparing and while they're mobilizing, we'd like to show you video feeds that we're getting from MMDA. This is the actual video feeds from their CCTV cameras, and as you can see, at one point in time, EDSA was shut down for a good 3 minutes, and I could see no cars moving along the northern and southern lanes of EDSA. Right now, I think the cars have been allowed to move forward, but as you can see in certain areas like in SM North, and then if you see in SM Mega Mall, there are areas where it's, of course, there's a lot of traffic, and I think the MMDA is beginning to evacuate now. In Mall of Asia, we can see that there's an evacuation taking place. This is in Pasay City. In the SM North, there's also an evacuation taking place. So the malls have been involved and have been planning for this event. And it seems like everything is going well as of now. We're only in our 8th minute into the National Simultaneous Earthquake Drill and Metro Manila Shake Drill. By the way, this is happening nationwide, and we don't have feeds right now, but our movers are all over the country taking video, taking pictures, and they're going to share it with us. Later on, I'm going to have Raisa Serafrica from our social media team join us, and she'll be talking about the different things that our movers are seeing on the ground. And we'll probably have a few of our movers come in and talk to us about what they're seeing on the ground. Right now, they're just out there gathering information. So as we can see from our vantage point, you can see this is Bayview Tower. I believe this is along Manila, near Ross Boulevard, and it's very well. The traffic seems to be normal, but of course, you know, we don't see on the ground people are evacuating from their buildings. We also have feeds coming in from EDSA Guadalupe, Mega Mall. A lot of people are assembled on the streets. Now, behind me over here, if the camera can pan, well, let's look at let's look at the Joint Task Force first. As you can see, they are convening the incident command system, composed of the incident commander, who is the operational man in charge or operational person in charge, and the different agency representatives to map out what will their response plan be. Of course, the first thing, the crucial thing at the moment is getting the right information. And we have different partners with us today. FireChat, an app that doesn't need the internet and doesn't need Wi-Fi, was able to broadcast an alert using the FireChat app. And Rappler as well, we were able to broadcast an alert. And MMDA, I believe, also has SMS capability, was able to broadcast an alert at 9 a.m. So I hope some of you have gotten that alert on your FireChat app or on your phones. So right now, behind me over here, or to the left of me actually, we have the Incident Command Center forming, and we are awaiting the transfer of MMDA Chairman Emerson Carlos. If we can look at SM North, if you can pan to the camera to the right, SM North, you see an evacuation ongoing at EDSA. I saw several patients being carried out on stretchers. Over here on your left, you see Emerson Carlos, or is that Emerson Carlos? That's in Guadalupe Bridge. And they're preparing to go down the bridge. I believe the person in yellow is an important. I can't identify that person at the moment. I believe that is Emerson Carlos from the MMDA, and he's going down the bridge. This is in Guadalupe. I understand he will proceed to cross the river, the Pasig River, so that he can get to this area where we are at the moment. So very, very interesting scenario over there. Now, we are mapping all of your reports and your tweets on the Agos alert map. So let me just show you the Agos map very quickly. We are getting these reports via Twitter. So if you tweet using the hashtag Pagyanig or hashtag MMShakeDrill, kung mag-tweet po kayo ng hashtag Pagyanig o hashtag MMShakeDrill, lalabas pa yan sa ating mapa kung saan malalaman po natin yung location nyo, kung nakabukas yung precise location nyo, at malalaman din natin ano yung sitwasyon doon sa area nyo. So pag-tweet po kayo ng pictures mag-tweet po kayo ng mga information, ano po yung nangyayari, ilan po nag-evacuate, ano yung mga gusali na apektado, kung may apektado man, kung may konting sunog o kung may konting problema, i-tweet niyo po yon sa hashtag pagyanig at hashtag MMShakeDrill. Balik po tayo ngayon sa Guadalupe Bridge. Ito po, bumababa ulit na naman ng isa pang hagdanan or isa pang ladder si Chairman Carlos ng MMDA. And he, as we can see, he's proceeding down to the base of the bridge. I don't think anyone has ever been down that low in that area near the Pasig River. And there's a boat awaiting him to transfer him and ferry him across the Pasig River. And I understand he will now ride a motorcycle. So that's a lot of work for one person in a day's travel. And he will proceed here. After he proceeds to Camp Aginaldo, he will go to the grandstand where he will now transfer or ask the national authority to also take charge of the disaster response phase of this disaster. And the national authorities, the NDR, RMC, and OCD, will also get the help of the international community led by the United Nations and other various international organizations involved. So we have Chairman Carlos transferring now into a life vest with a yellow jacket, and I believe he's alone, but he will be accompanied by 2 members of the MMDA team. He seems a bit tired, but he's still game, and he still has to travel a long way to get to here. So this is a good testing scenario for us. You know, we often think that in an earthquake, actually be chaos anyway.
Incident Commander.
So let's go back to the feed for the incident commander right now. We're gonna have a briefing by the local incident commander here.
Is Technical Sergeant Corpus, Liaison Officer, Technical Sergeant Marquez, Information Officer,
So we're
Mr.
gonna go
John
to the incident commander
Bautista,
who's going to talk about
Planning
what's
Chief.
happened here.
Planning Section Chief, Sergeant
Again,
Ethel
Joint Task
Dimano,
Force NCR within Camp
Logistics
Aguinaldo,
Section
a few meters
Chief,
away from the
Technical
grandstand
Sergeant
where
Ledesma,
the National
Operation
Council is
Section
going to
Chief.
We are now putting you in one particular area here, and you will now be responsible in coordinating for the 4 quadrants organized and established in 4 areas in Metro Manila. You will start
You
working
can also see
at this
Philbox
particular
Director
time at
Renato
09:15
Solido.
hours. And you will be reporting to our responsible official. We are now waiting for the chairperson of Metro Manila, the RMC Attorney Carlos. So in effect, we have now the EOC here. Our response clusters are all here. So definitely any concern that you have as IMT, you will now submit this to our EOC. So good luck, boys. Keep safe and be in your proper protective gears. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so the live feed later will show you that, as I'll annotate because I can see it from my viewpoint, Chairman Carlos is now going up to the other side of the Pasig River. He is being helped out by the MMDA officials there, and now he will proceed to take a motorbike to go to Camp
Can we have
Aguinaldo.
an update from our report date?
So the updates are going to come in from areas. of
General
Metro Manila.
Gonzalez, do we have an
People have
update?
started to
What
establish,
situation we have here?
whose only role is to actually set up information. Our telco providers.
Okay,
They've
thank
already,
you.
what do you call the
Course,
where they will
the,
deploy people
PNP,
on the ground. Here in Metro
a
Manila,
response
in
cluster.
see, as you can hear that, the response cluster is also activated to understand
May report na po
where the
ba ang
reports are
Department of
coming in
Health kung may
and where they
nangyayari
will
na
send
dun sa mga
actual teams
areas
on the ground. But
natin
even in a scenario
in
case,
Metro Manila?
they don't need to wait for the response cluster to deploy teams because each individual LGU should actually have a contingency plan in place. So right now we can see the video feed of MMDA in SM North. Everybody is outside on the street.
Touchdown
I believe
already.
in North
But
EDSA
of
we
course,
also have a lot of
we
people
check
on the
on our
street.
office
I
and
think
have
that is in Ortigas, this area here
noted
on the upper right
some
corner,
casualty,
in SM Mega Mall.
injured
So good cooperation from the public.
and the nearby
Hopefully,
community.
people are
As of
than
now,
last year.
the has
They'll
PGB
Right,
an
okay, good.
immediate
It
feedback.
can be tedious, it can be
Give you an
tiring, but
update
it's
as
really
soon as we
necessary to
receive the
build that
report.
culture of preparedness.
Okay,
As we say here in
do we
Raptor,
have our Dana
information
GT
is critical,
FNCR?
and right
Rapid
now,
damage
we're getting a lot of
assessment, meron na po
information.
ba
It's
tayong
good for us
panili pa rin
to be able to
na
know what to
shopper?
do when an actual earthquake happens, and hopefully everyone will be ready and everyone will be prepared to minimize any loss of life, to minimize the damage that could arise from a major
Magandang
7.2 magnitude
siguro kung
earthquake.
nandito din yung
So,
ating PNP,
Yes,
more on
all
security.
agencies
baka
are
nagkakaroon
involved.
po tayo ng problem on security matters.
Right. See, so security is a number one issue. As we know, what happened in after Typhoon Haiyan, security was a big problem because the security officials, the policemen and the AFP, were also the ones who were affected by the disaster, and they had to take care of their families. Okay. I'm hearing behind me several choppers flying overhead. I believe there's going to be some kind of evacuation or aerial survey that will take place later on. As we can see in the video feeds, this is in SM North, EDSA, SM North, EDSA. Yeah, evacuation taking place there. Can we cycle through different feeds po? Okay. Yes. This is in SM Mega Mall. Again, they haven't even returned inside the mall. So this is good because we really don't understand or know after safe, fully safe, until in case anything breaks down. Yung incident command system dito sa side. Actually, what you can see from my vantage point is that they actually have a
report soon. And we
So
are
it's
now
like a-
asking each member the RRC.
yes. So right now,
Ang ating communications coming from represented primarily here. PNP, kindly, dito na po kayo. Nasaan ang PNP?
okay.
Right now, they're reporting how the government plans of the government. For example, in Taguig, members of rescue teams secure the collapsed City Hall building. That's their scenario.
So you see in this case particularly, let's Camp Aginaldo alone. Let's report. So people far off as Zamboanga submit reports of your earthquakes are coming in. And they are coming in from different areas of Metro Manila, from the different agencies. And from these reports, they will determine whether they should mobilize any personnel. Going back to our feeds, we now have our MMDA feeds, and you can see this is again Bayview Tower in Metro Manila. Let's go back to the map. Bayview Tower in Metro Manila. Over in Guadalupe Bridge. Can we go to Guadalupe Bridge?
Meron na po tayong command post doon with medical treatment, evacuation,
So there's a
rescue, clearing operation, and fire suspension. Sa Quezon City Hall po, nagkakaroon po ng high-angle rescue evacuation and looting incident. Sa Circle, fire suppression. Sa Barangay Rodriguez, Quezon City, nagkakaroon po ng clearing operations. Sa Eton, Centris, EDSA, isang fire suppression po naganap. Sa Agora Market sa San Juan, search and rescue operation. Sa Executive Building sa Mandaluyong City Hall po, ay meron pong search and rescue operation and fire suppression. Sa Tulyahan Bridge, sa Marulas, Valenzuela, isang bridge po ang nag-collapse with stranded people provided with transportation. Caloocan City Plaza, parking lot sa harap po ng City Hall. Meron din pong naganap na search and rescue operation. Para naman po sa West Quadrant, na matatagpuan sa Intramuros, andoon po sa MMDA workers in port area, collapse structure search and rescue operation and victim extrication. Liwasang Bonifacio, Manila, fire suppression. Manila City Hall, karoon po ng mass evacuation. Sa Baseco naman po, isang fire suppression and mass casual incident. Sa Manila Hotel po, fire suppression and mass evacuation. LRT Central Station Manila, nagkaroon po ng train derailment. Guadalupe Ferry Station to Jones Bridge, mobilization of rescue personnel via po Pasig River and Malabon. Malabon and Navotas City Halls, mass evacuation po ang naganap. Sa CCM Escolta Binondo, collapse structure search and rescue and victim extrication. Del Carmen, Corner Ross, Boulevard Service Road, isang vehicular accident and fire suppression. Sa East area naman po, sa LRT Line 2, ang Loton Pasig River Ferry Station to LRT to Santolan Depot, nagkaroon po ng transportation of relief goods sa pamamagitan po ng Pasig River Ferry System. Santolan Footbridge, isang busted water pipes restoration. Valle Verde 1 sa Pasig po, fire suppression and collapse structure rescue operation. Sa SM Mall Marikina, nagkaroon po na ng collapse structure rescue operation. Riverbanks, nagkaroon po ng looting incident. Loyola, Barangay Barangka, sa Marikina pa rin po, ay fire suppression and collapse structure and rescue operation. Dito naman po sa ating South Quadrant, sa Villamor, Pasay City, sa MRT Guadalupe, northbound Makati, collapse MRT station and billboard structure na with vehicular fire, rescue and debris clearing operations, vehicle extrication and fire suppression, and Pasig River, Guadalupe, Makati City. Nag-collapse po ang Guadalupe Bridge, so nagkaroon po ng water rescue operation. Ang MMDA building naman po, nagkaroon po ng sunog and fire suppression and search and rescue operation. Sa Taguig City Hall naman po, nagkaroon ng evacuation and debris clearing operation. Sa SM MOA sa Pasay po ay nagkaroon po ng mass evacuation. Baclaran Church sa Parañaque, evacuation and debris clearing operation. At sa Alabang, Muntinlupa po, viaduct area, nagkaroon po ng collapse structure rescue operation. Yes, ma'am.
You see now is reports from Guadalupe Bridge. This is it seems like there's a fire ongoing or they're trying to put out a fire. A lot of bystanders are watching, of course, and traffic is slowing down. So if you are in EDSA right now, northbound, try to avoid Guadalupe Bridge if you can and go out to alternate routes. They're trying to put out the fire. I know this is a car that's burning, and there's also a car that's hanging from the side of the bridge. In a few more minutes, we're going to have our movers coming in and reporting live. Okay na ba? Danny, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. Danny, this is Danny Nakpil. She's in Mall of Asia. Danny, what's happening there? Go ahead.
Sir, good morning. I'm now here in the Telstra open parking beside the Mall of Asia in Pasay City. The employees of the surrounding offices who were evacuated a while ago just finished the briefing and are now returning to their respective buildings. The Pasay City government, in cooperation with the MMDA and the SM Mall of Asia administration, had fire and rescue simulation drills a while ago. The drill ended at exactly 10 in the morning. And business is back as usual here already, sir.
So, Danny, the people that evacuated, what were they doing when they evacuated? Did they just stay outside? Was there anything that happened? Did they have to evacuate any people on, inside that were maybe victims of the earthquake?
Sir, the evacuees were the employees of the respective companies surrounding Mall of Asia, and they stayed at a open parking lot here in front of the Telstra building. There was also a rescue simulation a while ago. There were rappellers going down the building, and there were 3 simulated victims a while ago also, sir, who were given first aid immediately.
Okay, great. Thank you, Danny, and please give us a report later on what's going on in that area. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, that was Daniel Nakpil, our mover, who was reporting from the Mall of Asia. Thank you very much, Danny. Now, let's go back to our live feeds. As we can see here, earlier we were showing a fire that was happening in EDSA Guadalupe, and I think the fire has been out. If we can pan to that right now. Yeah, the fire's out there, so they put out the fire in a car, and now they're seeming to evacuate people, or people are moving down from the ladder, going, I wonder where they're going. I think they're trying to evacuate from the bridge itself. So the simulation here is that the bridge actually collapsed, and this bridge would not be passable if this was a 7.2 magnitude earthquake. And let me just explain why we're doing a scenario based on a 7.2 magnitude earthquake, according to a study done, I believe, about 10 years. Okay, Chairman Carlos has just arrived.
Na bumaba siya doon sa Guadalupe Bridge.
Okay.
Dahil nagkaroon po ng collapse dito.
So Chairman Carlos has just arrived here. He came from the
cluster
Guadalupe
natin.
Bridge. Let's listen in.
Of course, headed by MMDA, we have also the PBOX Director Solidum to give us update on the situation of Metro Manila and the source of the earthquake. Hintayin po.
Good morning to everyone. We would like to welcome Director Solidum for a brief report on I think you have already convened the MMDA-RRMC, so can you please continue? Go ahead.
Chairman, the West Valley Fault has moved. Gumalaw po siya at magnitude 7.2, kaya malakas po yung naramdamang paglindol sa Metro Manila. Intensity 8. So ibig sabihin, we expect significant damages all over, and we need to make sure that we respond to these different areas. Beyond Metro Manila, we also expect Bulacan, Rizal, Cavite, and Laguna to have been affected. Magnitude 7.2.
7.2 magnitude. Have we heard from the quadrants? Before I left MMDA, I instructed that the quadrants be convened and the operation center be operated at the quadrants. Have you heard from the quadrants?
Mr. Chairman, we already
Mon.
reports. They started sending reports. We were able to establish the communications link already with the different quadrants. And we already monitored reports coming in from the cities. All the quadrants have already activated their emergency operation centers and undertaking the task assigned to them, Mr. Chairman. We're just awaiting for more details on the report, but initially we heard that because I was on my way to the office when the shaking started and the collapse of the MMDA building, so I immediately proceeded here. And reports coming from the different quadrants as gathered by our communications center is presented in your table for the initial reports. We're still gathering more details as they come in and will be reported, Mr. Chairman.
So now we have official reports of several damages and assessments, damage assessments and need assessment from different quadrants. Therefore, we are activating Oplan Metro Yacal Plus, so the different agencies of the MMDA-RRMC are enjoined to perform their duties based on Oplan Metro Yacal Plus. You know your respective responsibilities from different agencies. And now we just would like to get the consensus of the council as to if we should elevate this matter to the NDRRMC.
Chairman, right now the NDRMC has now established its incident command post in the grandstand of Camp Aginaldo. So, iintayin lang po kayo ni Chairman o Secretary of National Defense, Voltaire Gasmin, kung i-elevate natin. And we need to get information from our response clusters kung nangangailangan na po ba tayo na i-elevate to sa national. Just like JTF, para maipanik po sa AFP, the entire AFP, the PNP from NCRPO to the national, the DOH and CRO going up to the DOH head office, and all other agencies who are members of the clusters. So we need, of course, to be synchronized, also working on the regional level, but as well as requiring all national level response cluster to work with the Metro Manila DRRMC.
So am I made to understand that there is no objection that we elevate the incident to the National Disaster Reduction Management Council?
I concur with the chairman, so I'm asking for all the members.
So there being no objection to any member of the MMDRRMC, we are going to elevate this matter to the NDRRMC, and I will personally go to the grandstand, general headquarters of the NDRRMC, to personally elevate the incident to their command. In view thereof, I am hereby authorizing the Vice Chairman of the MMDRRMC, Director Susan Cruz of the OCD, to take charge of the MMDRRMC EOC here at JTF Camp Aginaldo.
Thank you, sir. I accept the responsibility as Vice Chairperson of the Council.
In the meantime, we are asking that we continue receiving reports, get in touch with all of the quadrant commanders and send all the reports and whatever needs that you may have to the NDRRMC, and in the meantime, you can manage this particular operation center.
Thank you, Chairman.
With that, in the meantime, we suspend the meeting of this MMDRRMC, and we will be elevating the matter to the NDRRMC. Please continue monitoring all the reports and start with your operations for your respective agencies. Thank you very much.
Okay, so right now we just seen the conclusion of the Metro Manila Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council meeting, the first meeting with Chairman Emerson Carlos of the MMDA, in which he came from the Guadalupe headquarters of MMDA, and he said that this is the situation. I want to see all the quadrants activated, but I also need your assessment of whether we should elevate this to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council. The other members of the council agreed, and so now Chairman Carlos turned over authority to the Vice Chairman of the MMDRMC, who assumed authority, and now he will personally proceed, I believe with the Director Renato Solidum of FIVOX, to the Camp Aguinaldo Grandstand, where he will now formally request the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council to, I guess, take awareness or take action with regards to bringing in additional resources to help the local governments of Metro Manila respond to a 7.2 magnitude earthquake. So this is very interesting to see this live, actually, because you don't really know how this process will unfold in real life, and this is a fairly close simulation. Of course, Chairman Carlos had to proceed here on different modes of transportation, and now it's interesting to see how a council of different agencies will work together and collaborate and coordinate for disaster risk reduction. Of course, now that he has to go to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council headquarters or the Operation Center in Camp Aguinaldo, it will also see now a larger involvement of resources, including Regions 3 and 4A of the Office of Civil Defense, who will augment the resources of Metro Manila. So this is under the assumption that Metro Manila will be quite, frankly, devastated by this earthquake, and we will need additional resources to come in. And probably the first responders to help us will be in our neighboring areas in Region 3 and Region 4. All over the Philippines, there are these sort of sharing agreements between different regions to help each other out in case an earthquake or a natural disaster like a typhoon will affect a particular area of a region. In the case of Metro Manila, it's Region 3 and 4A, which is the areas that are right beside Metro Manila. So this is Laguna, Batangas, Tanay, and all other areas in that region, Rizal, of course, and of course, Bulacan. So these regions have actually conducted their own drills, but now they are going to mobilize to send resources to come into Metro Manila. And this happens almost simultaneously with the activation of the Metro Manila Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council Response Cluster. So we'll later see video from Camp Aguinaldo's headquarters, hopefully get a report from one of our movers there. David Lozada is in Camp Aguinaldo now. Maybe he can give us a phone patch if we can get that from him later on. Over in our live video feeds, we can see in Guadalupe there were a couple of rescue situations taking place. I think there were a couple of victims who were in the water. And also later on, you can see in Marikina Bridge, there's another rescue simulation taking place over there. In SM North EDSA, the people that were evacuated are now back in the mall. Along with SM Mall of Asia, as we heard earlier from Danny Nakpil. SM Mega Mall. SM Mega Mall, as you can see, traffic is almost back to normal, which means it's bad. But at least now the people who are along in the street are back inside the mall or back inside their office buildings. So it seems that all over Metro Manila, things are starting to return to normal. Of course, this is just the beginning if this were an actual earthquake. For many of the people who are with us here right now, our first responders, our government officials, of course, civil society, international organizations. If this were an actual earthquake, this would just be 1 hour, the first hour of a very, very long process. In fact, as experts say, in an earthquake scenario, you should be self-sufficient. You should expect to survive on your own for at least 3 days, because within those 3 days, we cannot expect the government to be able to address all of the scenario, all of the calls for help, all of the cries for help and appeals for assistance. So you should try to be self-sufficient within your family, within your homes, within your schools for at least 3 days. Beyond the 3 days, then maybe you can seek assistance from your local government, your barangay, your city, or you might want to evacuate to an area where there are less where there's more resources, like in the province, to visit your relatives, your friends, or to go back to your hometown. So the rule of thumb, according to experts, is that you cannot live without air for 3 minutes. So this is the rule of threes. You cannot live without air for 3 minutes. You cannot live without water for 3 days, and you cannot live without food for 3 weeks, apparently. And if you have food and water, and of course information, then you'll be okay. So try to seek these things out before an actual disaster happens. So don't wait for the disaster to happen to look for food, water, and shelter. It's always good to have an emergency go bag, something that you can keep in your car or in your home or in your office that contains everything you need for the first 3 days, which includes food, water, maybe an extra change of clothes, of course your toiletries, and medicines that you might need in case of an emergency. And it's not enough to have just one go bag for the whole family. Even your children, if you have children, if you have your kasambahay, people who live with you in your house, each of you should have your own go bag or emergency bag, just in case you guys aren't all together and you need a go bag wherever you are. Now, as I can see behind me, on my left, Chairman Carlos and Director Solidum are convening with Mon Santiago of MMDA. It seems that he's monitoring the different feeds that are coming in. So we basically transferred MMDA here to JTF in Camp Aginaldo. It's a mobile office. I hope we can actually interview him. We don't want to bother him. Of course, he's very busy at the moment. He's getting an assessment of what's going to happen, and I understand he will proceed to Camp Aginaldo headquarters, the grandstand, where the NDRRMC, the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, have set up a operations center, an operations command center, alongside different agencies of government, the PNP, Bureau of Fire Protection, the international UN agencies have set up a command center as well, through the DFA, the Department of Foreign Affairs, and they're going to convene the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council to decide what exactly needs to be done. If they need to call for additional help. Let's say this was in a real earthquake scenario. Do we need to call for international help? Because apparently international organizations can't just come into the Philippines whenever they want. They need the formal request from the Philippine government. As in the case of Typhoon Haiyan or Typhoon Yolanda, where about 6,000 or 10,000 people were killed and many, many more were affected, were homeless. The national government had to appeal to the United Nations, which declared it a level 3 or ELB3 event, which means that all resources of the United Nations system, wherever they were, wherever they are, needed to convene and help the Philippines. And of course, we're very grateful for that. So we learned our lessons, hopefully, from Typhoon Haiyan, and today we are taking these lessons and turning it into action. Chairman Carlos is proceeding to the Camp Aginaldo grandstand, and we hope we can get a live update from David there via phone patch of what's happening when Chairman Carlos proceeds to the grandstand. Of course, the work here at JTF NCR isn't finished because they still need to gather information from the various local government units and, of course, MMDA operatives on the ground, and they will need to understand what exactly is happening so that they can send the appropriate units and proceed to the proper, of course, picture taking behind me as you can see, but he's going to proceed to the Camp Aginaldo grandstand shortly. Let's go to the Agos map and let's show the reports that are coming in. Let's see here, yes, we'll go click on some of the links on the ground and you can see reports coming in from various movers and people just tweeting hashtag #ShakeDrill and hashtag Pagyanig. You can click here. Okay. We see reports here in this case. Yes, let's load. Yeah. So INGO is participating in ShakeDrill. Let's go back to our CCTV cameras. So traffic has returned to normal. We're not seeing any particular scenes of rescue at the moment. Of course, this is already 9:47 or 47 minutes into the ShakeDrill. Let's check on social media in a bit to find out what's happening. We can pull up TweetDeck here so that we can check out our social media posts from our movers. And we have a phone call coming in. Let's see who that's from. So right now, what I can see from my vantage point is that the different actors, the different organizations are mobilizing. Behind me, you can see an incident command post where they're collating information from different sources. They're tallying the number of affected, the number of victims, the number of casualties, which include the number of injured, and also the operations for fire suppression, for rescue, for retrieval. So this is happening as we speak. And again, we're looking at the Agos map. Oh, sorry, not the Agos map. Let's go back to the CCTV feeds. Yes. Yeah, so let's go to the Agos map. And as then we can see about, I think this is around 200 reports coming in at the moment. Let's try to zoom out, see if there are other reports from the rest of the Philippines. Okay, right now it's concentrated in Metro Manila. Yep. Okay, let's click on one of these reports. Not camp. Let's go to the left. Yes, here, there, near Manila. Yeah. Okay. So this is in the Metro Caloocan City Hall, and you can click on the picture. Yes. So they're evacuating. This was earlier sent in by at F. Fine San. So thank you very much for that tweet. Let's move on to another tweet up north near Marikina. This is in Marikina, taken about 30 minutes ago by Ro Barde. So can you click on the picture? Yes. So this is their command center preparing for the earthquake drill, I believe. Let's move on to another one. There. Yeah. Okay. This was in North Quadrant, okay, from Gazy. Can you click on the picture? Okay, they're performing duck cover and hold. All right, thank you very much. Okay, so as you can see behind me, we're hearing helicopters coming in. I understand that the national government, the Navy, has a helicopter that can actually do live video from the top and broadcast it down to the operation center at Camp Aginaldo. And we can get live video feed, but that's also because they want to understand the extent of the damage. So if this were an actual earthquake, we need to know rapid assessment of damage, or RDANA, and to do that, they need something that can do that quickly. We have some drones here. I saw drones earlier, and they're going to fly that up and take video of what's happening to understand how big or how extensive the damage is, and also to prioritize where they should send fire responders and other rescue responders. Okay, let's go back to our video feeds here. Near Marikina Bridge. Oh, excuse me, sir. Yes. Yeah. You can see at the MMDA office. And Marikina Bridge, things have gone back to normal. There's still the taxi hanging there from the bridge. Let's try to get David or someone from Camp Aginaldo for a phone patch. Ano ba tayo mag-roll ng video? Sino to? Sino? Hello?
Oh?
Yes. Hello?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, go ahead. Tell us what's happening in your area. Where are you right now, Pam?
I'm in Navotas City Hall, and the drill has just finished. The City Hall is actually cleared out right now, but early on they had three scenarios, four actually. One was with the BFP, the Bureau of Fire Protection. They applied first aid to prisoners in their city jail, and then another one was at the City Hall office, where their employees performed the duck cover and hold. And then they also had a scenario where looters were trying to go into the office, and then they were apprehended by the PNP. That was also one scenario. And then another scenario was with the elementary school here, adjacent to the City Hall. the students performed the duck cover and hold as well.
Okay.
And several ambulances were also dispatched to rescue the critically wounded victim that was under a backhoe here in the Manila City Hall.
Okay. So how was the how would you describe the evacuation and the drill simulations in the area? Was it orderly and peaceful? Were there any problems or obstacles along the way? Pam?
Well, I was with the BFP earlier on, and their performance was really efficient. They entered the city jail smoothly in cooperation with the police who are at the jailers. The rest, while they were applying first aid to the victims, the other prisoners were in handcuffs and they were disciplined along the road. So there was no problem for the police to control them. And as I went into the City Hall, although the rescue of the critical victim from under the backhoe took a little longer than they wanted to, she was attended to quickly naman and sent to an ambulance as fast as possible.
And Pam, would you know if they used real prisoners in the simulation or were they simulated prisoners?
I believe they were simulated prisoners, the ones who were outside. But
Okay.
I believe that there were prisoners who were peeking from the inside
Okay.
behind bars.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see. So what's your overall impression, Pam, of what you saw? This is the first time you've witnessed the earthquake drill happening on the ground. So what's your impressions of this earthquake drill?
Well, I think it was very efficient. They were very coordinated. The BFP received a call and then they responded immediately. And then as their ambulances were dispatched, they also knew where to go. So I believe that it was very efficient. The Red Cross volunteers also knew where to put the victims. They had color-coded. They had color codes for the victims who were critically wounded, I believe walking wounded, and I believe it was very efficient. They categorized the victims really well.
Okay, thank you.
And the students were disciplined as well.
Great. Thank you very much, Pam Peregrino, reporting from the Navotas City Hall. Thank you, Pam. Stay safe. Okay, that was Pam Peregrino, one of our movers. So earlier we heard from Daniel Nakpil from Mall of Asia, and the reports that we're getting online are pretty, the drill has been proceeding pretty smoothly. Let's take you now to the MMDA workers in. This is in Metro Manila. This is Manila, right outside Intramuros. And here, last year, they performed a high-angle rescue. This year, I believe they're doing almost a similar thing. Maybe you might be seeing the post-rescue operations taking place. We see some pool of water. Maybe there was a fire that had to be suppressed. And, well, you know, again, things have been proceeding smoothly. So I hope the assessment later on, we understand that the DSWD is evaluating the different actions taking place. I hope the assessment is positive. Now, I'd like to talk to Raisa in a bit, talk about what she's seeing on social media. Raisa, do you have your lapel on?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So Raisa, come here. Let's stay here within screen so that the viewers know who you are. And can you walk us through what you're seeing on social media? What are the interesting things that you note that are happening?
Interesting, for example, in Guadalupe, we have our intern, Aish, reporting that the rescuers are doing water simulation rescue. For example, okay, a helicopter arrived to assist the water rescue simulation in Guadalupe. So, as if you've read in the past few days, we've wrote a story about why a taxi was hanging under the Guadalupe Bridge as part of the Shake drill preparations. Okay, in Pasay, we also have ambulance on standby as medical team evaluates victims or the victims' wounds. Okay, and then in Marikina, medics are also responding for the Shake drill.
Are we getting any reports, Raisa, from outside of Metro Manila?
Yes. We have also reports, for example, in Cebu. I recently saw a post about the Pagyanig preparations in Cebu. And then we also have aerial shots from different areas.
So all of these posts we are collating, I understand, Raisa, on
Yes.
our social media feed. Can they see that on our Facebook accounts?
They can see that on mshakedrill.ph. We have our Agos map
Okay.
from link to our go-to page for Shake Drill.
Can you talk about how people can report using Twitter?
Okay, it's easy. If from wherever you are, you can tweet reports coming from your area. Just turn on your location settings. On Twitter, you can see the location. It's a blue icon below the status. And then once you click the blue, you have to also click on the exact location settings below. So your tweet will be pulled into the Agos map.
Okay, thank you. So please continue to tweet. Thank you, Raisa. Please continue to tweet and post your pictures, even if the 8th earthquake drill has finished, because we're still capturing those tweets. We want to be able to document this. All of these tweets, by the way, will be given and shown to MMDA and to our disaster managers so that they understand how people are using social media to report information when a disaster happens. And of course, this doesn't just take place during a simulation. You can actually use the same feature to tweet during a typhoon. If there's other natural disasters, let's say, in the off chance there's a tornado in Metro Manila or in other parts of the Philippines, there could be flooding. You could use this, and this is always on. This is a feature that was on our Agos alert map, agos.rappler.com. This is something that we've created together with our partners Ateneo from the Ibayanihan team, with the OCD, with the support of Australian aid, the Australian government, and our other partners such as the MMDA, the NAMRIA, the DOST, and FIBOC. So we're really thankful for these partnerships because we're able to create a platform that will collate information from social media. And we'd like to show you some of those posts now. If you can go to our screen, Raisa will just walk us through some of these posts that she's seeing from our different movers on the ground. So go ahead, Raisa.
We have, for example, in where's this? In SM Marikina, our intern JR is reporting from SM Marikina, and he said that the debriefing is ongoing. Okay, here we go. In Guadalupe, let's go to Guadalupe. Here's Ish. It says that the water rescues for the Guada Bridge. So the scenario in Guadalupe is it will collapse in case a 7.2 magnitude earthquake strikes. So our rescuers are simulating a water rescue under the Guadalupe Bridge. Okay, so here they're assuming that the bridge will collapse and cars will fall into the water. You can also see that the rescuers did a simulated water rescue at the Guadalupe Bridge. Dummies are used as victims.
And later on, Raisa, maybe we can check Facebook for the Facebook Live videos that some of our movers have done. But in general, any incidents that are unusual, any problems that are reported by our movers and people on the ground?
So far, everything's positive. So
okay.
You can see that all government agencies are responding based on their mandate. So no challenges, no problems so far.
Earlier today, I understand that hashtag MMShakeDrill was trending.
Yes.
What rank were we trending at?
Not only that, we trended. So far, I saw from our Philippine trends.
Yeah.
It's trending top. It's top trending.
Okay.
In the Philippines.
What does that mean if it's top trending for some of our viewers?
So it means that it is the most tweeted post.
Okay.
Or hashtag in the Philippines, and not only that, we actually beat our record from last year. So last year we did a whole day MMShakeDrill.
Okay.
We reached, I think, 1.5 billion impressions.
Okay.
So this year
impressions are
the number of times the hashtag is viewed by by Twitter users.
Okay.
This year we have so far 2-point-something billion
as of 10 a.m.
As of 10 a.m. So that's just an hour span of MMShakeDrill. So that's compared to last year, which
it's a whole day.
Yes, it's a whole day. So that's a record.
That's a record. We should write about it on Rappler.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. That's good news. I'm sure the MMDA and the national government agencies will be happy to hear that more and more Filipinos and probably people around the world are aware of not only the hashtag, but more significantly are aware of what was happening today and hopefully are more prepared or are preparing themselves for an actual earthquake drill. So let's imagine, again, let me just repeat what Raisa said. Last year, there were about 1.5 to 2 billion impressions of MMShakeDrill, which is the hashtag, for the whole day. And impressions is the number of times that is viewed on Twitter. As of 10 a.m. today, Raisa is saying that there are at least 2 billion, Raisa?
Yes.
2 billion impressions of MMShakeDrill from the moment that we started capturing these impressions. So that's significant because in the first hour alone, we have 2 billion impressions, which took us a whole day to get last year. And hopefully by the end of the day today, we shall see more impressions and more people spreading the news of what they did to participate in hashtag Shake Drill and hashtag Pagdinig, the National Simultaneous Earthquake Drill. So we're going to get more reports for you as we go along. Let's just cycle through our different feeds. Let's go through our CCTV cameras, and we'll be back in a few minutes just to show you what we're getting on social media, and hopefully a live report from Camp Aginaldo. So stick with us. We are still broadcasting live from the Joint Task Force NCR in Camp Aginaldo. We'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, welcome back to our live coverage of the National Simultaneous Earthquake Drill and the Metro Manila Shake Drill. We'll take you live now to one of our movers who is in Camp Aginaldo Grandstand, Poch Espina. Poch, are you there?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Okay, what's
Right
happening
now-
there? What did you see? Tell us what's happening.
Right now we're in Camp Aginaldo, and Chairman Carlos has just arrived around 10 minutes ago and is currently giving a press briefing regarding the status of Metro Manila in this shake drill.
Okay, Poch, what happened earlier before Chairman Carlos arrived from 9 a.m.? Can you walk us through?
Sorry?
What happened earlier from the time that earthquake drill started? Can you walk us through? We saw some video
Okay.
earlier of people preparing and cars running around. What was happening?
Right. Okay, so the program started at around 8:37, standard program, and at exactly 9 o'clock, they pressed the buttons to signal the start of the drill. So from that point on, everyone did the duck cover and hold, yes, including media, including all the officials. And after a minute, they stood up and went to their respective areas. Slowly, they started setting up the satellite phones, which is very important because to my knowledge, during Yolanda, that was one of the key problems why there was no communication and why there was a problem with coordination because, again, of the lack of communication. So aside from the current satellite phones they set up, they actually also set up mobile sites sponsored by Smart, and at the same time, they also set up satellite solar panels in order to provide power. After this, people started setting up the alternate command center. So here right now, we have people from AFP, people from the DSWD, people from PNP, from UN, and various sectors of society helping. In fact, one of the most interesting was the bikers from Rizal. They were volunteers in order to transport people who were stranded and cars could not pass. So they transported the DOH and DSWD to Camp Aginaldo so that they can provide medical support immediately.
Okay.
After which, of course, they started slowly setting everything up, and then eventually the people from Camp Aginaldo started arriving and proceeded to the evacuation area, which was the grandstand. So eventually things started settling down. People are holding their councils, their conferences, and their orientations. And this is where we are now with our press conference with Chairman Carlos.
Okay, great update, Poch. What's the mood there now? How would you describe the mood among the people there and in the grandstand where you are?
Well, I'd say it's pretty serious. People are actually really taking this drill seriously. You can see that people are really engaged and people are really involved and interested on what is happening.
Okay, does it look like everybody has a role to do or everyone has a part to play?
Well, of course, there will be the traditional few which are just there standing by, taking this taking pictures and taking selfies. But most of them, of course, are engaged, especially the armed forces, especially members of civil defense, the SWD, and DOH.
Great. Okay, maybe Poch, you can get back to us later on with an interview with people who are there on the ground, responders or officials who can talk to us about their assessment of the National Simultaneous Earthquake Drill and the Metro Manila Shake Drill. Thank you very much, Poch Espina, reporting from Camp Aginaldo Grandstand. He was walking around earlier. I saw him. I was actually with him earlier, and he was walking around, and he was telling me that this is quite surprising to see this many resources of the various agencies. Like he said, there was even motorbikers who came in and brought various officials together. So there is actually a plan, or at least a agreement, that in case national secretaries like DSWD Secretary Dinky Soliman or Department of National Defense Chairman Voltaire Gasmin cannot be transported via vehicle to the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council Operations Center, then motorbikers can assist, and they already have specific people that they need to pick up or retrieve or look for so that they can transport them to the Operations Center in Camp Aginaldo. Again, these are all plans. Of course, when the actual earthquake strikes, the best plans sometimes go differently, but it's always good to have plans, as I've been told by disaster management experts, because plans and rehearsals such as these help build, as they call, a memory muscle. And when you have muscle memory, when you have muscle memory, then when it happens, the actions the people can respond almost automatically. And what we're seeing today is really just a test of this response system and how people will work together and how people will cooperate together. So let's go back to the Incident Command Center. There's a sort of briefing taking place. I think there is assistance from experts here who are going to advise on how to proceed with this command center operations. Okay.
What we will build in the simulation is activities that will force your emergency operation centers to pass information which can then be tracked, but most importantly, it can ensure that your levels of command are trained appropriately. The way that we did it in Canada 2 weeks ago was that we said that the Provincial Emergency Coordination Center was the primary training audience, and the secondary training audience were the regional emergency operations centers. So we wrote an exercise that was actually going to test them and, most importantly, validate our immediate response plan. The scenario was a 9.1 earthquake, some 150 kilometers off the coast of British Columbia, which then created a tsunami for the west coast of British Columbia. I would also say that the Washington State, Oregon State folk were also involved in the exercise, and we all had the same timelines. So the earthquake hit at 07:45 on a morning, and 15 to 30 minutes later, the tsunami started coming ashore. So it was quite an interesting exercise from that point. As far as the tool goes, what you see is a representation of what could happen. And each of these figures indicates a number of people, which would vary. And the yellow are just citizens. And as the simulation runs on, what you will see is something will happen to them. So some of them may die, some of them may have injuries. The reds are already people that we know are injured. So for example, the algorithm in the simulation will allocate a certain number of burns, certain number of broken bones, and other sorts of injuries. What is really neat about this, and we haven't built it fully into this exercise, but we would love to work with you in the future, is that you can allocate the resources for your emergency responders. So, for example, if the Eastern Quadrant had 30 fire engines and 30 crews available, they could be built into that. And then they could be then tasked via the simulation to go and do the priority tasks. And this is what the important thing is really the simulation really helps, is the passage of information up, the assimilation of information in your emergency operations centers, and ultimately the prioritization that your operations chief and your directors put onto the actual tasks. So that, for example, if there's a building with 1,000 people in that's on fire, as opposed to a building with 6 people in, hopefully the fire engine's going to get tasked to that bigger task. So the simulation is very flexible, but basically we build it from a master sequence of events list in an Excel format, and then we can upload it into the simulation, and that creates the scenario. So if you want to make changes, they can be made even at a relatively late stage. The best way to do it, though, is to involve C4I as your partners at the very beginning of the process. So when you have your initial planning conference, your main planning conference, and then the final planning conference, we can actually start building the simulation at the very beginning. So as you go through, you can actually check to see what the picture is looking like. So effectively, you create a storyboard for your exercise as we go through. And if we need to adjust it, it's very easy to adjust at that point as well. So the key points I would say is that this is a great tool that is very flexible, and it can be used at LGU, it can be used at Quadrant, it can be used at MMDRC, it can be used at NDRC levels. We can design an exercise where it goes. And what we're doing in British Columbia is working with the provincial government to build capability and capacity at every level. So every 3 months, the intention at the moment is that there will be a short-term exercise, maybe just a couple of days, that will go to a regional EOC, it will practice them, and then it will move on to the next regional EOC in a couple of weeks' time or whatever. So it is very flexible, and it can cater for any level. And at the lower level, it's a matter of maybe a couple of days' work to actually put it in. The other thing that we have had success with is actually doing turnkey exercises where our exercise development team will work with you and the simulation to actually produce an exercise for you. So you give us the exercise specification and the criteria you want us to work to, and we can do that. Alternately, you can buy the simulation, we can train your staff to do it, and you can build your own exercises. So there are definitely 2 ways to do it. Any questions? I will show you just a few of the little things. So for example, you can sort you can put numerous bookmarks in. If you want to look at just a fire situation, you can build that in if you wanted to. And in this scenario, we didn't, if we'd worked closer and if we'd spoken to your seismic experts, we probably would have put more casualties in the northern, eastern, and southern quadrants to reflect the West Valley fault line. In this case, as you'll see, that there's a lot in the old city area, which may not be quite so badly affected. But the point is that if we work with your experts, we can build in something that's pretty damn realistic. And it would be very good to do that. I'm happy to take questions now or at any time during the exercise. Okay?
Maybe one of the questions that we want to ask with regards to the simulated incident in Metro Manila, like the 7.2 magnitude earthquake that traversed the entire Metro Manila, the western part of the country, which is, of course, in Metro Manila. We need to know, of course, that we have studied before.
We're back. You're listening now to a consultation taking place between an international expert and the MMDRRMC. They're talking about a simulation exercise that they've done before in Canada, and that they're applying here, and they want to know like how they can apply this kind of simulation exercise with the peculiarities or the complexities of Metro Manila's almost 17 or 16 million population. In a few minutes, we're going to go live to our one of our movers who is in LRT Line 2. He's reporting that the earthquake drill proceeded accordingly there. We're just preparing that. This is a FB Live video that Adrian Jimenea will give us. Earlier, you heard from Danny Nakpil, you heard from Poch Espina. Our movers are still gathering information. They're going to file their reports and send it into Rappler.com. You can send your reports as well. Send it to move.ph@rappler.com. Of course, you can tweet at moveph and at Rappler.com. We are still getting tweets and reports from our agos.rappler.com map and through our e-Bayanihan partners who are in Ateneo at the moment. So hello to you. They are gathering reports on this tweet. So now we go to Adrian Jimenea live from LRT Line 2. Okay, I see that it seems that the signal is a bit weak, so let's go back to him later on. Let's go to our CCTV cameras. As you can see, traffic is returning to normal. Over in the South Quadrant in Villamor Golf Course, I can see from where I'm standing, there are several rescue scenarios taking place. I think there's still a briefing that's happening. It's so as we know. Okay, let's go back to Adrian Jimenea. This video is still not so good. Maybe we can just do a phone patch with him if we can't do a video. So from where I see, let's take it back to the different quadrants. The earthquake drill is still proceeding, so we haven't seen the end of this. This will probably go on for another couple of hours until such time that the MMDA chairperson in Metro Manila will say that the Metro Manila drill is off. And of course, for nationwide, for the government, the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council, led by Undersecretary Alexander Palma, will say that the Pagyanig, the National Simultaneous Earthquake Drill, has ended. But until then, the earthquake drill and the subsequent drills are taking place. Let's go back to the Agos alert map. We're reloading it right now. This is again Rappler.com/Pagyanig. That's Rappler.com/Pagyanig. And you can see various reports coming in from different areas. Let's go to Raisa. Raisa, Raisa will tell us later on what report she's getting from our movers. Let's wire her up for a bit. So this is really exciting. I mean, I've never seen this much activity on social media for something that is not even real in that sense, because it's not even an actual earthquake. I've seen before in actual scenarios, in typhoons, in disasters, where people are going on social media asking for information, asking about their loved ones, asking for help. Here, in this case, it's different. Here, people are saying, this is how we're participating, this is how we're preparing, this is how we're actually acting in coordination with each other if an earthquake happens, and this is us preparing as a nation. So it's very, very heartwarming to see, and I hope this is the same kind of response that we see on an actual drill. So Raisa, can you walk us through what you're seeing on social media on our Twitter feed right now?
Okay, right now, the rescue operations in various groups are starting to wrap up. I've learned it from our mover in South Campus School, and I think that's in South Quadrant. The students, all the students have their own helmets.
Okay.
So the barangay in coordination or in partnership with the school work together, and then they provided the students with helmets. So
actual helmets, not the cloth helmets.
Actual helmets, so that in case of a 7.2 magnitude earthquake, they'll be prepared. In SM Marikina, a person with disability, it's not part of the plan, but a person with disability had a breakdown, and according to our mover, JR, the responders acted accordingly.
Okay. That's interesting.
So here are the other reports coming from our movers.
Well, now, Raisa, are you saying, you said earlier that the drills are winding down, but are people still posting on social media?
Yes, we can still see posts coming in from netizens across Metro Manila and even across the country. Right now, from our last check around a few minutes ago, the hashtag MMDA drill already garnered 2.8 billion impressions.
Okay, great. That's 2.8 billion impressions.
Hashtag Pagyanig garnered more than a billion.
A billion impressions. That's also impressive. That's very impressive, because this is the first time we're actually monitoring that particular hashtag Pagyanig. All right, thank you very much, Raisa. So let's go back to our CCTV feeds, and hopefully we'll have more people to interview later on. We'll be back in a few minutes for the continuing coverage of the National Simultaneous Earthquake Drill and Metro Manila Shake Drill.
An issue, then we could probably have some sort of a mobile offline system.
Yep, that might be an option. I've got to say that we know the cloud works very well. There's a protocol you could use where you could have offline systems and people running the same simulation, and it then just needs phone calls, etc., to make sure they're in sync. Yeah. 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 Okay. Okay. Hey, listen, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. And it's great being here. It's very interesting from my perspective to see some of the things that you are doing. And I think there's lessons that Canadians can learn from what you're doing here in the Philippines. Yeah, thank you.
August. Your semester in August, right? Your seminar will be on August? Yeah. August 10. August 10.
So we have bringing in retired Brigadier General from Canada. Guy I actually work with.
Is it open even for non-military or?
It's primarily a military audience.
How about retiree?
Sorry?
How about the retiree?
You're thinking about coming
because I'll be retiring and I'm still interested. Who knows? I will be one of the consultants really. Can I still join on August 2?
Okay.
I'll give you my card later.
Yeah.
I want to join. I want to join.
So this is one of the things about this is that the Milton version as well is actually a much better tool than JCAT.
Yes.
We'll take you now to Alex Oncal, who's live. She's reporting from the helicopter flying over Metro Manila. We'll try to get to Alex via phone from the helicopter. Alex is a Raptor photographer. This is the few video clips that she was able to send to us flying over. So apparently there's still good signal when you're in a helicopter. In a few minutes, we'll have an interview with FireChat's Marina Ascarete, who will talk to us about this app called FireChat that allows you to send information or send messages to each other without having any cell phone signals. Okay, and we're back to our live stream coverage of the National Simultaneous Earthquake Drill and Metro Manila Shake Drill. So I'm happy to be joined today by the Communications Chief of MMDA for the Metro Manila Shake Drill, Mon Santiago. Sir Mon, thank you very much for joining us. Can you tell us what happened earlier today? Can you walk us through the whole drill from the MMDA's perspective? And of course, give us your assessment.
Yeah, initially what we did, or part of the scenario, was after the strong ground shaking, the main emergency operations center located at MMDA also suffered severely and cannot be used as the emergency operations center for Metro Manila. And there were also some damages on the building itself of MMDA. That's why the chairman, Chairman Carlos, had to be moved to the alternate emergency operations site, which is here in Camp Aginaldo, within the compound of the AFP Joint Task Force, NCR. So, right after the shaking, the simulation was that we heard news that MMDA building or complex cannot be used. That's why we had to establish this. So this was activated, and therefore preparations were done here.
So this is part of the
Also,
plan in
that's
case
part
the
of the plan.
HQ of the MMDA goes down.
Yes,
Okay,
that's right. So
okay.
this particular area, or where we are now, will serve as the alternate emergency operations site,
Okay.
where the Metro Manila Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council will convene,
Right.
and basically serve as the link from the quadrants to the national.
Okay. So, sir, in your assessment, how were things proceeding from the start of the well, even before the earthquake drill, preparations-wise?
Preparations-wise, I think we're thankful for the cooperation of all the sectors. They have been responsive to the idea of really raising. I mean, for us to develop resiliency, we have to raise people's awareness and people's consciousness about what can happen based on the hazards that threatens us.
Yes.
And from then on, I think the preparation went smoothly. Each organization did their best and their part, and insofar as the execution, we may be seeing a few gaps.
Yeah.
And after identifying them,
Right.
we can go back to the plan and rewrite the plan.
I understand, based on your talk earlier with us when you gave a talk to our participants in a workshop,
Yes.
you said that coordination, communication is important. It's
That's
critical,
right.
actually.
It's very
so, do you see greater coordination this time around? This is the second time we're holding it.
Yes.
Ano pa yung mga areas for better, improve coordination and communication among different stakeholders?
We have to enhance our redundancy
Redundancies.
scheme. What we have not really tested here is because the scenarios were already written out.
Right.
And therefore, the entire exercise is freewheeling, laissez-faire. So they have already set. Maybe in the future exercises, what we can do is to provide some injects.
Right.
Meaning to say that
Unscripted or at least
unscripted or
unplanned, on their part.
maybe what we can do is to designate an exercise directorate who can just, what they do is they have some injects apart from the scenarios that were developed by the quadrants.
Of course.
So these particular scenarios will just be injected at the time when all the quadrants are already executing their plans.
I see.
So it's a dream stealer, sort of.
Of course, yeah.
So that's when we will be able to see what the gaps would really be.
Because,
based on our
of course, in an actual earthquake, it would be initially chaos.
Yes, that's
there would be
right.
very difficult coordination. To at least get together in one area. But how do you see, in terms of preparation, how do you see these drills helping us, helping the government, helping the private sector, helping individuals prepare? Why people ask, why do we need to do these drills every year? Kung alam naman natin yung duck cover and hold, yun na yun, alam na natin.
Based on the study that was done way back in 2002 up to 2004, the damage estimation map has remained the same. Even though all of us are preparing, I think we still have to prepare for more.
Okay.
We still have to be more conscious enough so that we can change the landscape that we're seeing right now. What we are really attempting to do initially with this shake drill and simultaneous drill would be to urge people to really improve the structures that they're in. Because insofar as the damage estimate is concerned, still a lot of residential structures remain vulnerable to strong ground shaking. At this point, what we can just do so that it's automated fashion, we can respond in an automated fashion is prepare, get used to doing drop, cover, and hold, and executing some of our plans. Because if we would even ask ourselves, are we prepared with our own individual go back kits that if our houses are destroyed, we can stay on for the next 3 days for our families. So if that remains a question, then I think we should continue doing these things
it's good that you
until we
mentioned
perfect it, not only on the part of those responding, but also on the part of the family individuals.
Good that you mentioned that, sir. Can you tell us, or for the benefit of our viewers who don't know, what they should do after the earthquake strikes? How will they survive? How can they survive?
Well, in the first place, while government is preparing and some private NGOs, the private sector, they're trying to come up with a system whereby they can attend to the needs of the people. If you look at the figures, based on the study, the figures are staggering, and therefore most of these systems, considering that they are also based here in Metro Manila, will not be up for the next maybe 12, 24 hours. And therefore everybody has to fend for themselves. If we fail to prepare at the community level, then chances are panic would set in. Because of the thought of uncertainty, fear of uncertainty. And this could affect the already chaotic situation. So that's why we're really urging that while especially on the part of government, what would happen is that everybody would be concentrated into attending to victims, etc. And therefore, as time goes on, what could happen is that other needs of the victims, the refugees, etc., might be overlooked, or somehow the services that's available at that time will not be sufficient because it's also being put up. Remember that those who did the system here are also based here in Metro Manila, and therefore might also be affected themselves.
They have to go to their
and therefore
families.
there would be a delay in the services that they're supposed to give.
So we should not expect immediate aid to come from anyone else.
That's right. We have to protect ourselves.
Of course.
First and foremost, rule, protect ourselves. And it's only through practice that we can, achieve this. Especially if there's a strong ground shaking. When we look around our offices, our homes, a lot of injuries that result from strong ground shaking is really caused by panic. And, some unprepared homes and offices or workplaces. What happens is that the injury comes from those within, not necessarily from the building, but from the objects that topple during the strong ground shaking.
What happens, sir, during a day, most families are separated. So the children are in school, the parents are at work, or everyone is doing their own thing. So how do families specifically prepare for this kind of scenario when they have to come from different points and assemble? How do they do that? How do they prepare?
Well, we could really understand the concern for, especially sometimes there are local news of disorders, etc. And immediately you see on the screen, on the news, that parents start converging at in schools. Well, what could happen? The same thing could happen in an event where we experience a huge earthquake. And if everybody gets to understand, everybody gets to go through this exercise, then the level of confidence on the system that's already placed in the schools. Parents need not panic because they're taking care of schools and they're much better in the school because the teachers are taking care of them.
I see. Okay.
And if the families have plans, then they don't have, and they have been practicing it as well, then that reduces the anxiety level, plus the tendency that we get injured more because of such anxiety. So we do the exercise regularly. It becomes automatic that if this particular phenomenon occurs, this is what I do, this is what the family would do.
So, can I ask you, sir, what is your ideal in terms of government preparedness and response, and of course, individual preparedness and response? Can you describe the ideal world where you can say we are prepared for something like as major as a 7.2 earthquake?
Well, even if we can try comparing ourselves with what we've seen on the news about global disasters, even developed countries with all the resources that they have, when the impact is so great, they also tend to have problems.
Of course.
Okay? But the problems that we see on the screen are simplified or reduced into scale because of the level of awareness and preparedness of the people.
Okay.
We see the case of Japan after tsunami. A lot of people were stranded in transport terminals, train stations, and we saw a lot of establishments offering water, blanket. And if those things could be, if we could also embrace that kind of preparation, then I would say that we're already prepared. We can never tell what can happen. We could only imagine the worst case. What we're preparing for here is the worst case.
Yes.
So if we're prepared for the worst case that imaginable insofar as the earthquake is concerned, then maybe anything lower than that, we're quite confident and the level of capacity would be somehow higher.
So let me ask you, sir, and I know this might be an unfair question, but are we prepared for an earthquake?
I would honestly say that not to the level that we'd like to see.
Right.
But in fairness also, I think we have a lot of improvements already in our system. And in fact, even other countries, our neighbors, they're also looking up to us because they're quite amazed as to how fast we have
changed and
progress.
So you remain optimistic, sir?
Oh yes, definitely. I think we're about to reach the tipping point when everybody would be prepared, especially here in Metro Manila. I could not speak for the other regions, but I think if we only increase the level of awareness and consciousness, which is relatively less expensive than putting up all these assets for response, I think we're heading towards that direction.
Well, to give you some good news, sir, based on our tally, last year, the Shake Drill for the whole day reached about 2 billion impressions on Twitter, which means 2 billion times people saw the Shake Drill hashtag. In the first hour alone, it reached 2 billion, and now it's about 2.8 billion.
Oh, that's
very encouraging. I think it's very good news for the organizers in that more people were aware about the Shake Drill, and of course, Paginig as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't heard from the other regions.
Maybe
later in the afternoon, we'll get to see the universe of participation. Because last year, we only did it in Metro Manila.
Exactly.
After the drill, the two neighboring regions, in as much as they could be affected also by the movement, decided, we'd like to join that simultaneously with Metro Manila, and therefore maybe that would explain the increase.
Well, we look forward, sir, to your assessment later on when the drill is over. Thank you very much for organizing this and for helping us understand what's happening today.
You're welcome, and thank you too for being our partner in this endeavor.
Thank you, sir. That was Mon Santiago of the MMDA. Thank you, sir, very much. Okay. So we'll take you back to our CCTV cameras, and then we'll have an interview later on with Marina Ascarete from FireChat, and hopefully a few more phone patches from our movers before we wrap up our coverage today. Please stick around. We haven't ended our live coverage of the National Simultaneous Earthquake Drill and the Metro Manila Shake Drill happening today. Okay, thank you for joining us again. We're back with our live stream of the National Simultaneous Earthquake Drill and Metro Manila Shake Drill. I'm joined by Marina Azcarete of FireChat Philippines. FireChat, I understand, is an app that allows you to send messages to each other without the need for internet or through Wi-Fi or through Bluetooth. So can you tell us more about the app itself, and then tell us what your experience was and why are you in the Philippines in the first place doing disasters of all things?
So thank you, Zach. So
Yeah.
FireChat is a mobile app.
Okay.
It's free. It works on iOS and Android. And what it does is connect phones directly to one another through Bluetooth and peer-to-peer Wi-Fi without relying on a centralized network.
Okay.
And so what this creates is effectively a disaster-proof network
Okay.
that can allow people to communicate even in situations of emergency when traditional networks can get overloaded or even damaged.
Okay. And was it originally built for disasters?
It was originally built for any situation where you don't have connectivity, with the idea of leveraging what's already inside phones,
I
right?
see,
The Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi radio.
Okay, so what have you? I've heard you tested this out before in a previous country. Can you tell us about your experience there?
So what we did today, just here,
Oh, just here,
actually,
okay,
is a worldwide first.
Oh, okay.
So we deployed a solution called FireChat Alerts.
Okay.
Which is designed for government organizations or media or big NGOs to actually be able to communicate with large groups of people even when networks are destroyed. And so today from here we send 3 alerts that have been received by every FireChat user in Metro Manila, even when these users are not connected to the internet.
How does it work? How does that happen? How do they get the message?
So again, it leverages the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi radio. It spreads the messages from device to device in order to reach more people.
And how could this app be used in similar circumstances, let's say in remote communities where the signal might be weak?
So what you need is a density of users.
All right.
So you can imagine that in a far-flung barangay where you have enough smartphones and enough users, then you would also be able to use it as a communication solution. It's really designed for really very encouraging, and it shows the need for a product that can work no matter what, even if networks are destroyed.
And how, tell us about your impressions of this earthquake drill. I think this is probably your first, or this is your second?
This is my second. Yes,
In
I
the
was
Philippines,
here. I was here last
year.
year. I mean, it's very surprising to see the level of preparedness of everyone in this country, and how everybody is also open to trying new things, trying new technologies, trying new ways of communicating to prepare for disasters. So it's very interesting.
And I asked this earlier of the MMDA of Santiago. What would be your ideal, world of how people could be prepared, not just in the Philippines, but worldwide? What would it take for you to say that we are prepared?
Well, so I think awareness of the fact that it can happen is a first step, and then we need to learn to help each other. Also, we need to learn our survival skills, and we need to learn how to help each other, right? Because in this situation, that's all you have.
Exactly. So thank you, and thank you for technology, for apps like FireChat that help us to connect even if we don't have the internet or Wi-Fi. So that's Marina Azcarete of FireChat. Thank you very much, Marina.
Thank you, Zach.
Okay, so we're going to continue our coverage of the Shake Drill. Just stick around with us, and we'll show you some pictures and video from our agos.rappler.com map. Thank you, and stick around. And we're back with our live coverage of the National Simultaneous Earthquake Drill and Metro Manila Shake Drill. I'm joined now on the phone with Raymond Duliana. Raymond Duliana is from Cagayan, our mover. Raymond, are you there?
Yes, Zach, good morning.
Good morning, Raymond. Tell us what's going on in your area, what happened, and what's your assessment?
Zach, it was a bit surprising, the turnout of the events here, as evaluators seemed dismayed of the non-preparedness of the earthquake drill participants here in the regional center of the Department of the Public Works and Highways, or DPWH, here in Tuguegarao City. The evaluator had SFO2 Ronnie Gadao from the Bureau of Fire Protection, or BFP, scored the employees of the DPWH a 5/10, meaning they are unprepared whenever a strong earthquake occurs here. The DPWH employees is noted the center of the nationwide earthquake drill here in Cagayan. The scenes here are very simple. There's one fire truck, but it was not used. There is an ambulance, but there were no people being carried for medical attention. I didn't see anyone using ladders or rescue vests, not like in Metro Manila now, where events seem real. According to Gadao, the participants did not take the drill seriously. They were laughing during the drill, and according to him, this should be a lesson, because the earthquake, when it happens, is a no joke. Gadao, the evaluator, observed no proper conduct of the duck cover and hold. We see the people actually doing the duck position in the uncovered or unsafe area in the building. They actually duck in the corridors and not in covered and safe positions, and they were able to get out of the building in just 1 minute, which according to evaluators is not realistic. Evaluators also noted that there were no organizing, no first aid team, no site security team for possible looters. There were no fire brigade team and no evacuation area. Zach, the explanation of the employees was they were not alerted that this is a full-blown simulation, which puts to question what has the Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council, or PDRRMCF, has done to take part on this very important drill. I am contacting PDRRMC Cagayan Director Bonifacio Quarteros about this, but he said he is in the middle of the meeting at the provincial capital.
I see. So do you think this is only particular to, what area are you in right now? What municipality or city?
Tuguegarao right now. Yes.
And do you think this is particular only to Tuguegarao or to the whole province? The lack of preparedness and what you said is that they were taking it as not serious. They were not serious in the execution of the drill.
Right now, Zach, I am still contacting PDRRMC Cagayan Director Bonifacio Quarteros, because right now I cannot contact him.
Okay.
He said yesterday that the center for the earthquake drill will be in the DPWH building. He said he will be there to witness the drill. He said he will be one of the evaluators, but I cannot see him. Right now I cannot see him. Whether this scenario is like all over the province, I don't know right now.
Okay, but Raymond, would you say that the public in Cagayan, in Tuguegarao, were aware of this drill?
Actually, no. I went around kanina. I cannot see people doing the duck position, or just I didn't see rescue teams. Doon lang sa may DPWH building, which according to Sir Quarteros, doon ang center ng earthquake drill dito sa Cagayan.
And you're saying that at the area where you were, the DPWH building, although they organized the drill, they weren't very serious in carrying out the drill. I see. They didn't perform the proper rescue and duck cover and hold techniques.
Yes.
I see.
Yes, that's what the evaluator said.
Anything else to report, Raymond, from your area?
So far, wala pa. We're still contacting Bonifacio Quarteros.
All right, we look forward to hearing more from you, and hopefully you can send us videos and pictures from your area. Thank you, Raymond Duliana from Cagayan. Let me just recap briefly what Raymond said. He said that he was in the DPWH compound or area in Tuguegarao, in Cagayan, and what he noticed was that although there was a drill conducted, they didn't really perform the drill to high standards. According to one of the evaluators noted that the people were laughing, they weren't performing duck cover and hold in the secure area or in an area that was safe, and at the same time they were treating the drill very, I could say very casually. according to the evaluators who told Raymond this. And so he's trying to get information from the Provincial Disaster Risk Reduction Management Officer as to why this happened. He noted that many people in Tuguegarao weren't too aware of the drill and didn't perform the duck cover and hold, and didn't have the proper equipment or didn't have the proper materials. So interesting to get a different side of things. Whenever you do these kinds of earthquake drills, the outcome or the output is not always consistent, especially because you have different people organizing it at different levels. It requires so much resources, so much planning, and so much preparation that for some organizations, for some local government units, they simply don't have the experience or the capacity to do this much planning and organization, which is why a key to the success of any earthquake drill is adequate preparation, exchange of information and knowledge. As what we're seeing today for the second nationwide simultaneous earthquake drill and the Metro Manila Shake drill, it wasn't just Metro Manila that was activated, but regions 3 and 4A, or the neighboring areas of Metro Manila. And without them, the planning and the thinking come in to augment the research on the ground. So that was, please follow Rappler.com and coverage online stories from our movers on the ground. You'll get to see the pictures on our Facebook page. And if you search hashtag Pagyanig and hashtag Metro Manila Shake Drill, you'll see the reports coming in from this is how they participated, this is what they saw, and this is, of course, maybe for many, this is the first time that they're participating in a shake drill of this magnitude. So we'll come back to you for a social media assessment, and we'll probably wrap up in a few more minutes, so stick with us. And we're back as Shake Drill and National Simultaneous Earthquake Drill coverage. We'd like to take a look at what's happening on social media and how big of a reach this earthquake drill, spread out into the public. So I'd like to call in my colleague Raisa Serafika, the head of MOVE's social media team, to talk to us about what happened on social media today. Raisa, tell us what happened.
Okay, good afternoon, Zach. So right now, as we can see, the hashtag MMShake drill reached 3.3 billion as of 11 p.m.
Okay.
11 a.m. So
11
that
a.m.
means we've more than doubled our reach, our impressions from last year. So impressions means the time the hashtag has been served on a Twitter user's timeline.
Okay.
So you can see.
What are we seeing now, Raisa?
This is the reach map.
Okay.
You can see this is basically the visualization of the hashtag MMShake drill from 7 a.m. until ongoing. So the main broadcasters are the MMDA Twitter account, and we also have Raptor here.
So these are all Twitter users or
Yes.
Twitter accounts.
It means the broadcasters means they are the major influencers for the MMShake drill hashtag. We also have Feel Red Cross here, and then Move PH from this side.
Okay. What's the big circle on the right, Raisa?
The big circle on
Here,
the
this one
right
here,
is
in
the
the end.
linker. That's Project Agos.
I see.
So what does the linker mean? It means that the Project Agos is the main Twitter account that links otherwise disconnected Twitter accounts from the whole activity.
Okay.
So basically, it's the Project Agos has been linking other social media accounts to the whole circle.
So the map looks impressive, but what does it actually mean on the ground? What is it telling us about this exercise, this drill?
So one thing is it means that the reach of MMShake drill on the ground it has been reflected online.
Okay.
We can
How about
see
for
that
Pagyanig?
on Pagyanig, we have equally impressive data from Pagyanig.
I think you were saying earlier about the 1 billion
Yes.
earlier this morning. That's impressive.
We've reached 1.2 billion.
Yes.
1.2 billion impressions for Pagyanig. Let
I
me
see.
pull that up in a while. So
Okay.
here you go.
That's great. So can you talk to us about what you're seeing now, Leon? And that again, the tweet has been served.
Tweeted by at least 9 authors, different authors.
Let's see.
As you can see from Project Broadcaster for Pagyanig,
Okay.
it's the biggest influencer on social media.
That's awesome. All right. Show us some of the tweets that we're seeing now.
Let's see the tweets. Okay, the main tweet of Project, the top authored one. What do you do if you're in a vehicle drive during an earthquake?
Yes.
So it's basically one of our FAQ series on what will you be doing or what you can do in case.
And what about the reports that we're getting on Twitter and on Facebook?
Okay, let's move to TweetDeck and check we've been receiving. This is a tweet from Cebu, PIA Cebu, and it showed us how students from the Cebu City Central School participated in this year's nationwide simultaneous earthquake drill. On MMShake drill, we can see our reports coming in from our interns. So here you go. This is from Rafael from MRT. So last year, it's worth mentioning that the MRT LRT didn't participate in the MMShake drill, but this year they joined the activity, and even our commuters participate and practice the dock cover and hold. Here's MRT instructing.
We're still seeing a social media activity to continue to post.
Okay, all you have to do is to using hashtag into the app by clicking on the location icon below the tweet.
Okay. It's been a long day for many of us, but don't worry, we're still going to continue coverage through our stories online and on our social media accounts. That's at Rappler.com and at MovePH. For now, I understand that they've ended the nationwide simultaneous earthquake drill in the grandstand in Camp Aginaldo, and pretty soon we'll probably be ending the simulation here at the Joint Task Force NCR. So this brings to a close our coverage on Rappler.com. We'd like to thank you for joining us, and on behalf of our team here, thank you on behalf of our partners, the MMDA, OCD, and other partners in government. Thank you for joining us today. Together, let's build a disaster-resilient community. Let's hope that we have zero casualty when the real one strikes. For now, stay safe and be prepared. Good day.